Okay, this part of the lesson I'm going to be showing you how to set dots in the neck. First wanted to show you types of drill bits I use. This is what I originally started out using. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Try to stay steady. But standard wood bit has a stop here. You can see the long point guide there up top. Used to use these for a while. And then I found these types of bits right here. Try to get it focused a little bit. I believe they're called Forstner bits, if I'm not mistaken. So let me get a larger one so I can kind of give you a better idea of the head on it and the reason why I like to use these. If you can kind of get a profile of the bit there. This little edge right here kind of grooves in, so as it's drilling, it pretty much creates, gouges sort of a diameter in it before the center paddle bit starts cutting through. It kind of scores an edge, so with this type of bit, you don't get a lot of splinters and whatnot. It doesn't split the wood, so it's a pretty good bit. I like using them. And another good thing is you can kind of see that it has a certain thickness to it. It's about 1/4 of an inch, and that's usually about how far I set the dots down, because I want to make sure that they're down there pretty good. I mean, it just depends on the material that you're going to be using and whatnot. But this is a quarter inch bit, and this is the bit we'll be using to set the dots. So I first wanted to give you kind of a quick overview of the neck here. Again, this neck's already been slotted and it's good to go. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to pause the video as I do this because I need both my hands. But I'm going to run me some masking tape down here, and on the 12th fret I'm going to run some double masking tape since I'm going to be going a little bit wide and doing the double dots. Well, first go ahead and start out. I just kind of usually mark a little mark in the corner on the 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 12th, 15th, 17th, and 19th fret. So those are the frets where I'll be placing the dots at. Just kind of a little reference point there so that I don't drill a hole in the wrong fret. Okay, now I got the tape laid down in position. You can kind of see where I doubled it up. You can still see the markings here where I mark the frets. Let me know which ones need to be drilled out. Again, this is always kind of my point before I go cutting the tape, that I go ahead and double check and count off my frets. So again, I got the 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 12th, 15th, 17th, and 19th. So pretty much we're good to go with the frets. What I do at this point is I take an X-Acto knife and just kind of cut into the tape. Trying to do this with just one hand. I'm going to continue this all the way down, and then the frets that aren't getting drilled, again, it's all about referencing myself right now, making sure that I don't drill out the wrong hole. I'm just going to fill up the tape on the frets that I'm not going to do. So now the frets that need to be drilled have masking tape on it, and I know those are the ones that need to get hit, and to stay away from these. All the excess tape removed, so there's only masking tape that is on the frets that need to be drilled out. So from this point, I'm going to grab my ruler. I'm going to just take my measurements here and mark me a line, since I know that this is a 1.5-inch piece stock. I'm going to measure in 3/4. And when I do that, I'll take a measurement like so from this side, and then I'll take a measurement from this side, because it could be just a little bit off, so I kind of want to try to find the best center point to each one of these. And then when I'm done, then I'll just piece the lines together and line it up and get a nice center line where I know it's perfectly center all the way down through here. As you can see here, I went ahead and found my center line to all my frets that need dots. I did have to kind of switch out rulers because this wood is just a hair bit wider than 1.5 inches, so I had to switch to a 32nd inch ruler. But anyhow, I was able to find the center line. So from this point, now that I know my center going from here to here, now I need to find my center between each fret. And what I use to do that is just a simple dial caliper here. Okay, so I take my measurement. Again, it's kind of hard to do this one-handed, but whatever it reads out to be, I go half, so half of this one would be 625. See if I can do this one-handed here. And I kind of make a little indent on the line there. I'm going to come over to this side and do the same thing and make sure I'm matching up. Always double check both sides. So now it's probably going to be impossible for you to see it, but got a small little dot going on, probably about right there is my center. So from this point I'll do the same thing, continuing down with each fret. This one the dimensions are going to be a little bit different because the scale length on this neck that I'm dotting here is set up for a Martin 25.4 inch scale. So a little bit different than the standard 24 3/4 inch scale that I typically use. So yeah, just in case you're doing this along with me and you happen to have a 24 3/4 inch scale and wondering why the distance is a little bit off, it's because it's a little bit longer scale, not too much, but a little bit longer. So anyhow, I'm going to do that all the way down. You'll see here on the 12th that I went ahead and from the center I measured out 3/8 of an inch to give me my double dots here. So I can kind of show you here with my ruler. As you can see there, kind of just measured from the center and went out each direction 3/8 of an inch. Like I said, it looks like that this particular piece of wood is probably about a 32nd of an inch wider than 1.5 inches. So nothing too hateful. I can't control how they cut their wood. I just buy it. So okay, as you can see here, I pretty much found the center point to my dots that I'm going to lay in, with the exception again on the 12th. I had to offset the dots. I kind of took this drill bit right here just so that you guys would be able to see it, and kind of gouged out the center hole there, so it should leave a nice pilot hole. So when I drill it out with this bit, it should go in nice and smooth. Okay, I pretty much got all the holes drilled out. Went ahead and removed the tape. I don't really know how good you can see it, but it came out real good. Try to zoom in on one of these real quick to kind of maybe it'll stay in focus. And you can see that there's no ripping or anything around it. That drill bit did a really good job on not splitting the wood or anything like that. Plus the tape also kind of helped out too, gave it a little bit more control. But oh, real quick, I wanted to show you something. I don't know if you can see this down here. It's kind of sandwiched right now, but you can see where I had that. I was talking about putting some rubber blocking if you are going to use a bench vise. This is typically the stuff that I use right here. As it starts to wear out, I just peel off the old and put a new piece on and cut it in there, but it has the self-adhesive backing to it, so it's pretty handy. You can get these pretty cheap at Lowe's. But again, it keeps from getting the sides of the wood damaged, you know, or scratched up or scarred or anything like that, to where it would look nice. So anyhow, I figured out a way to position the camera here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it again and reposition the camera so that I can show you how exactly I put the dots in there. It's pretty simple. Just use a 1/4-inch dowel rod, put some droplets of glue down in there, set them in place and let it dry. Okay, we're going to go ahead and set the dowel rods in for the dot inlays. So yeah, let me get started on that. Usually just put in about, fill up the hole about halfway. That should give you enough. And if you have some overflow, it's no big deal. It's going to get messy, so you know, since I'm trying to keep it completely clean, because you're going to have to sand it anyhow, and once it dries, it comes up, or it sands off pretty easy. This type of glue is pretty sandable. After I seat it down into place there, I just kind of take a little artist brush and go around and make sure it pushes all the glue and gets a good seal down in there. Try to make sure your dots, or the dowel rod's sticking up out of the dots. Try to get them all pretty much in a straight line to where kind of appear to be going in there straight. And all in all, in the end, once you cut them flush and sand them down, I mean, you're not going to know if the dowel was in there crooked or not, but I don't want to take a chance, so I always try to make them go in as straight as possible. Whatever keeps me from having to redo something. Again, at this point, if you do happen to get some glue inside of your fret lines, once it dries, you can take an X-Acto knife inside of there and scrape any glue debris that you have in there. I mean, that's not going to be enough where it's going to block the whole channel out. And actually, if you spilled half the bottle in there, yeah, then might need some excessive cleaning. But for the most part, you should be set. It's just a little bit extra glue in there. It's not a big deal. I kind of had these dowel rod pieces already pre-cut, but I don't know if you can see it on camera, but right before I put the dowel rod in, I'm just kind of giving it a once-over, going down probably about 3/8 of an inch, even though I know that hole's not set at 3/8 of an inch. I just want to make sure there's no nicks or anything like that, because if you got to grab something pointless here. Like if you kind of had like a gouge missing right in there, and you set it in, and then once you sand it down, you're going to have this big old gouge out of your dot there. So I'm just kind of going over it, making sure that the outside of it, that there's no chips or anything like that. I want to make sure that the dowel rod that I'm setting in place is pretty clean and nice looking, so. I'm kind of twisting them as I go down in there as well. Yeah, just another way of making sure it's going and seating all the way down in there. Brush around the outside, make sure the glue is spread out throughout the cracks and whatnot. Right now, it doesn't look all that impressive, but once you cut these down flush and sand it down smooth, it does leave pretty nice looking dot inlays. Got one over here, the kind of a project guitar that I was working on. I haven't quite finished it up yet, but I mean, you can kind of get a good idea of how the dots look. I mean, this is a small scale guitar that I was working on. It's a 20 and something. I forget what the exact measurements of it are, but still working on it. I had it together, and then something happened. The bridge just wasn't setting right, so I didn't like it, so I went ahead and trying to rework it. But once it, like I said, once these get dried up and I cut them flush, you know, they stand out real nice. And the varnish that I use, or not the varnish, but the polyurethane clear coat that I use, when it seeps down into the top of the wood grain here, it just kind of makes the darker of the two woods just kind of pop out a lot more. So it's a lot more noticeable. So from this point, I usually let it cure for about a minimum of 2 hours. Never read the exact dry time here. Yeah, this says it sets in less than 30 minutes, you know, but I figure the more time the better. It's not like it's going to go anywhere. And, you know, I'm not in a rush. I mean, I'm pretty much on time with this neck. So I'll kind of let it sit and get nice and dry and cut it flush. So I'll go over real quick before I cut this off and show you what kind of saw I use to cut these with. Again, it is something that you could use. Let's this down here. You could use your coping saw, and if you kind of adjusted your blade, you know, and kind of went at it at a side like that. You can use to do that with the coping saw. It's not a problem. I mean, that's what I used to use, but then I found this saw right here, and it's really flexible, flush cut saw, and yeah, it gets a nice smooth cut on there. So there's definitely a lot less sanding with the coping saw. It's a lot more rigid, and if you're kind of off a little bit, you could end up cutting the surface of the fingerboard. So if you are going to use a coping saw, I would take it up at least, you know, maybe a 1/16 of an inch above the fretboard. You know, don't try to get it right down on there, because you're going to end up cutting into your fretboard a little bit, because you can always sand the dot down, you know, using like a belt sander or something like that. But the saw, pretty useful. I think I picked this up for like $10 at Harbor Freight. So it is a pretty good investment, and I've had it for a really long time now, and it still stays sharp. But when the video comes back, when I'm finished, I'll pretty much have these already cut down and sanded. And when I sand these, I use a belt sander. It typically gets it done a lot quicker, and the way that I move it back and forth kind of gives it a nice evenness to it, kind of making sure that the fretboard is nice and flat.